Good morning, good evening, I can't make sense of time with Saturn and Aquarius, honestly. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another video. I'm Volk, and today we're going to talk about the full moon in Cancer. Happy full moon, and Happy New Year, I should mention. We're in 2022. It's only been a couple of weeks. Today is January 17th, 2022. We are on a Monday, day of the moon, with the moon in Cancer, native sign of the moon. This moon, though, not an easy one, with Pluto interacting closely with the sun in Capricorn, Pluto being in Capricorn, with the sun at around 26, 27 degrees, opposing the moon at 26 degrees. So look and see if there are any planets in your natal chart at those degrees in the cardinal signs, or in, let's say, Taurus, Virgo, Pisces, Scorpio. See if there's any squares going on there, any interactions going on are going to be important to look at. I'm very tired. I'm very tired. I just got my vaccine shot yesterday, my third dose. So Pluto conjunct the sun has just sapped my batteries. My vitality has been destroyed. So that's very reflective of what we can feel on this Monday. On top of that, we have a snowstorm. We're snowed in here in Canadian land, about 15 to 30 centimeters of snow. Sun conjunct Pluto, very, very representative of Capricorn. It almost feels like I'm living in the mountains with the wind howling here and there. I don't know if you can hear it through the mic, but it does give a somewhat of a solemn feeling here and there when you hear it. Putting that aside, putting aside my lack of vitality, I still have enough in me right now to talk about this full moon in Cancer, because it's not an easy one, and I'm all for Pluto. When Pluto is there to expose heavy topics, I'm all for that. I'm always excited for the difficult topics in astrology. So the full moon in Cancer, ladies and gentlemen, is not one that you're going to skate through. It's a full moon of, frankly, deep reflection. And I have a couple notes here regarding the full moon. So, along with Pluto interacting with the sun there, we also have Venus in Capricorn, which is going to stay there until March 6th. At that point, we'll already be in Aquarius. No, what am I saying? Pisces season. Woo, 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 woo. I'm sure you're all excited for Jupiter and Neptune closing in on each other in Pisces, but that won't be later in spring. Let's go back, though. Venus retrograde in Capricorn is staying there until March 6th. It's currently retrograde, so there's a lot of revision, reviewing, a reevaluation of personal values, our financial stability, our commitments, relationship commitments, and financial commitments. Venus and Capricorn, retrograde. We're reviewing all of that. And with the Pluto and the Sun there opposing the Moon, there's a sense that January is a lot about having a mature reflection, needing to take your time to reflect on your hurt emotions that are having to do with authority figures, and the accountability that we have to own up to for allocating so much devotion to people that are not very nice to us. Example, toxic parents, inappropriate bosses, people who make inappropriate comments, and they either They can also do some very undesirable things. When we're talking about Pluto, it has to do with sex, shame, guilt, abuse, emotional and physical, it doesn't matter. But when we're talking about Pluto, it shakes us to the core. Our psyche, our psychology is warped. It's been vilified. You know, our purity with Pluto is, it's entangled in demons and cockroaches and stuff that we want to just rip out of the ground so that we can free ourselves and have a fresh sense of being. So Pluto conjunct the sun is going to expose very much to your sense of consciousness all of the ugly truths that you need to, again, say out loud to yourself in the comfort of your own home. Moon in Cancer. You're not going to agree with people at this time, especially with Mercury and Aquarius and Saturn there. There's a need to affirm the experiences that you have endured, Capricorn, that are having the experiences that have destroyed you, that make you so furious on the inside, Pluto. And Venus retrograde there, staying there for so long until March, is giving us the time to reevaluate our priorities, the amount of devotion we dedicate, the time we sacrifice, Capricorn, towards people that take us for granted. Doesn't matter if they're so close to you. And in fact, the closer they are, sometimes those are the worst. The people that should feel guilty for their petulant or destructive behavior. Sometimes the people we are closest to are the ones who gnaw at our soul, at the purity of our being. So this could be happening very, very much so with, again, people that you're close to, like your parents, people that you see regularly, authority figures at work, or people who have more power over you in a hierarchy system with Capricorn. And with the South Node in Scorpio, the lunar South Node in Scorpio, we are needing to pull away from obsession. The obsession over hurt feelings, right? The frustrations we ruminate over and over and over and over. We're done. We've been done. We should have been done with this baggage, with the shit that we're not supposed to interact with. We're supposed to be done with it, but we've delayed that. We've continued. We've how do I say? We have subconsciously, a lot of us, we have perpetuated the people that have been toxic to us to allow themselves to continue their behavior through our undeserved devotion towards them. And so the rest of January is going to be a period of deep reflection and a reevaluation of how your time and energy is spent on these people that unfortunately you might have to deal with for now. You know, in life, you're not always completely free from the people that you're responsible to, Capricorn. We still have responsibilities in certain circumstances when we don't live yet on our own terms. So if you feel like you're dependent, you know, if there's a dependence going on in relation to the people, Venus, that you're closely connected to, Pluto, especially the people that are, again, very difficult for you to bear and to endure, you really have to connect more with the body then. North Node and Taurus. Ground yourself. Incorporate unconventional habits, some novel ones, Uranus and Taurus. Really, really consider having a different dynamic, a completely eccentric dynamic at home, Uranus and Taurus. Perhaps think of what you're doing habitually in your regular environment, whether it be in the family space or in the workspace. Is there a tendency to hover around these toxic people because you're afraid of giving yourself the freedom to say no or to have a sense of healthier boundaries? So with the North Node in Taurus, try to have a strategy, Uranus. Try to have a different way, an unusual way of incorporating boundaries. Especially with Saturn and Aquarius too, there is a need to apply new systems, whether it be in the home or at the workplace. You could still be dealing with very heavy people, Pluto, that are always siphoning your personal power away by making a lot of demands and being entitled with their, with needing your time and attention, right? With Cancer, the full moon in Cancer, the people that you're dealing with too are very needy. And it's almost as if they're taking for granted the amount of attention you're giving to them. You're dedicating a lot of time to them, and then they're satisfied and they've, cleaned the dust off of their hands. And then the cycle repeats, and then it's not enough for them. And so they need more and more. And it's this very unevolved Cancerian nature where they're always clinging on to you because they don't have a sense of emotional stability themselves, and they need it, North Node in Taurus, but they're seeking it through other people that are already doing a lot of work, and they're taking advantage of them, South Node Scorpio. So the rest of January is really important for people to reflect on the amount of time, the amount of commitment that you're performing, that you're allocating for the circumstances and situations and close people, authority figures. Could be the mother, if it's a single parent that you're living with. The mother could be the authority figure here. Or if it's the father, then the father is the central figure who's putting a lot of pressure on you, Pluto, and making you feel like you're not earning enough for the family, or you're not doing enough, Venus. So these themes could come up very much. And unfortunately, in life, we can't run away from every circumstances, especially if, our finances are really limited, or we're still in the process of growing through our 20s. Life is not always about freedom. It's about the freedom that you gain access to from within you whilst you're living within boundaries and limiting factors. And so January is really crucial to hibernate your conscious being from all the people that are being pessimistic. Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn brings this heavy level of cynicism and pessimism. Everyone's weary and overly anchored in the real world and very much dry and cold. There's a lack of vibrancy and overall color during this season, especially, as we're in the middle of winter. So, the home is where you're going to find your ingenious spark. Uranus, North Node, and Taurus. You're going to find things within you, within your comfort zone, Taurus, within your little sanctuary that electrifies your being and brings out the strength to detach from authority figures, right? we're not taking the drastic recourse here. You know, some people think that, oh, if people are destructive towards you, if they're bringing in their own demons and they're projecting their darkness onto you and they're closely related to you, whether through work, relationships, or parental figure, then okay, you have to run away. You have to, you know, find a way to get a loan and buy your own house and escape the situation immediately. But no, that's the opposite drastic recourse that you might actually also regret and not and look back and go, maybe I shouldn't have done that, and maybe I should have had a little bit of mercy towards the people that, although are awful to me, are capable of changing. Uranus and Taurus. And so with Uranus falling in Taurus, it's very difficult for people to see the potential in people that are too stubborn to actually change. And so with this full moon in Cancer, it's really important to regain your sanity. Pluto's about insanity, insanity, psychology, or the madness that goes within you when things are just aggravating. But in that feeling, you're also giving away your personal power. So it's also about, with the Sun conjunct Pluto, there's a way to revitalize yourself through your purpose, Capricorn, to find your own way and to ultimately work on a plan and growing out of the family lineage, or the growing out of the job that you've been holding on for so long, especially with Venus and Capricorn for a while. And with the great resignation and all that happening these days, a lot of people are leaving in droves, leaving their old job that they haven't even found depth in anymore. They've outgrown that, or they've been dulled through it. You know, they're leaving their jobs as a husk with no excitement. But now that they're giving themselves the risk to leave, you know, Uranus and Taurus, people don't leave on a whim to these jobs. They don't leave old conditioning factors on a whim. It's difficult with Uranus and Taurus. It takes a lot to destroy that bond of attachment that's been fortified over decades. And then suddenly Uranus is here to give you the wisdom that you have never heard of. And then the spark of genius happens, and you give yourself the opportunity to liberate your mind from the autopilot modes you've been operating in. And so we're almost at the better part of winter. I really think February is going to kick off with a lot of stimulus. There's going to be a tremendous amount of, how do I say, connection happening with your sense that you're reaching the next level of your soul. You're going to find that signal in February. But January is an extra time for you. It's that last period of time before we're really entering several years of serenity. We're going to be focused a lot on love, finding balance, finding a way to be creative. And the number 6 is really prevalent too, with what's it called? Venus entering Aquarius on March 6th in 2022, which if you reduce 2022, you have 6. On top of that, we're entering the year of the lunar tiger, the year of the water tiger, and Venus goes direct on January 31st, right on the day before the new moon in Aquarius, which will be on the year of the new lunar Chinese year. And so we're getting prepared to reevaluate our priorities and to apply detachment in areas that have not served us for a long time, that we've been too afraid to make less important, because importance is the key word when we're talking about Capricorn. Importance, notoriety is the key term here. But Pluto there is showing us that those things are not important. Whatever it is that we've been maintaining and trying to drive ourselves to insanity to uphold responsibility for, we can finally break that pressure. And the moon in Cancer is, I think, the environment that's giving us that realization. And so although this full moon in Cancer talks about very, very difficult topics that have to do with parting ways with great finality, parting ways with things that we should have not engaged so deeply in anymore. It's about having that moment of realization that there is no going back. And so you can choose to continue what you've been doing. With this full moon in Cancer, go ahead. If you want to hold on to the same things that fester your soul, you are accountable for that. Accountability, Capricorn. But with the cardinal signs, there's a need to start something new, to move on, to have a new structure of life, and how it's aligned with your new your new spiritual structure, what you want to allow into your life. And so the number 6 is really important. I think moving in the spring, we're going to be regaining an incredible amount of personal power from personal and authority figures. I think financial stability will be much greater for a lot of people than ever experienced before since birth. And it says it's a result of timing as well. Capricorn, the Saturn in Aquarius too. We're living in very important times where things are still just being prepared to be new. New systems are going to be emerging. And not everyone's going to like it. With Uranus and Taurus, not everyone is going to be on board. Not everyone is going to be in that on that other side of the portal. So I'm drawing the tarot. And as I'm shuffling, Mars, I want to mention Mars will also enter exalted Capricorn on the 24th, 2/4/6/2022, 6 again. And Mars, Venus, and Pluto will be conjunct in on March 3rd, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. So there is going to be an incredible intensification of passionate projects, new goals and plans actually coming out into fruition, into the external world. And so the first card we have is the Chariot card. I really think this is the central card. Growing out emotionally, a need to grow out of the old society, of the old fortress that has kept you, that has kept your potential, your sensibility has been dulled, and finally, as you're allowing yourself to focus on your important professional goals, on your important new structures, it's almost as if you're also connecting with an outpouring of your personal sensitivity. What are we leaving behind? What are we leaving behind, Spirit? And the Chariot card is also the 7th of the major arcana. So with January 17th, there's a 7 there. There's thought, a lot of reflection, introspection. And then if we combine 1 and 7, January 17th, it becomes an 8. A lot of introspection that leads to a surge of deep desire, of knowing really deeply what you're placing your mind's focus on. No more going back. What are we leaving behind? Page of Cups reversed. The feeling of inferiority. Feeling inferior and as if we're not capable. Feeling as if we're not capable of creativity as well. We're leaving behind immaturity as well. Page of Cups reversed. The first of the Court cards. A young man leaving behind his unwise reactions and emotional habits and responses that frankly don't make you a sensible being. We are leaving behind codependency. Page of Cups reversed as codependent, wanting other people to. Page of Cups is the kind of person that always wants people to take care of them, especially on the emotional level, thinking that others will be the ones to make you excited, happy. But the Chariot being the central card shows that you are in the driver's seat and that no one else is going to help you find your connection with the gentle, fuzzy, glittery feelings that give you that spark of hope. Looking at the stars on the Chariot, on the rooftop of the charioteer's vehicle. What are we heading towards? 7 of Swords. And again, we're leaving the circus around us, leaving behind the thoughts that hurt us and keeping the knowledge, the wisdom that we don't want to experience the same as we have before. It's time. It's time to break the rules just a little bit. There's an element of strategy too. And with the 7 and 7 here, again, deep reflection, a strategic shift of how you're operating around conditions that you're slowly going to be freed from gradually. But for now, you have to play You have to play smart. And so what is our hint? What is something to keep in mind? There's a lot of, there's male figures in all the three cards. Deep reflection that brings you a sense of masculinity, of assertiveness in your life, you know. Queen of Swords reversed, something to keep in mind. Queen of Swords reversed. Social cruelty, gossip. Talking back over and over and over and over. It's aggressiveness through words. Queen of Swords. Something to keep in mind. And also to stay quiet at the same time. This is sort of a, I think this has a dual meaning, yeah. To actually keep your mouth shut. Say less. Because otherwise you're going to end up being too cutting with your words. With all this wisdom being developed, there's a sense that you have to be careful with how you're articulating yourself. And it's probably better if you, oh, and the Chariot flipped as I bring it up. The Chariot reversed. There's a sense that if you talk back, you could fall and stumble in your tracks of progress. So, because Mercury, I just realized Mercury will also be dipping back into Capricorn, conjuncting Pluto. And then we have the Devil card reversed. We're working on freedom, having a lot more freedom. We're focusing on this end goal. So let's not forget what we're aiming for with the Devil reversed. In the underlying element of needing to reserve yourself a little bit, to not say quickly what's on your mind, right? With Saturn, Mercury there in Aquarius, think about what you're going to be saying. How is it going to come off to the people that are difficult for you to bear right now? Is the same shit going to happen? Because guess what? People who are toxic and abusive, they don't like when you're smart. They don't like it when you know better than them. So no matter what you say, and with the Seven of Swords, I feel, and the Queen of Swords reversed, nothing you say, however you decide to explain yourself to the job, the boss, you're announcing that you're leaving, nothing you explain is going to be received well. It's going to be received as a personal attack, or as criticism. They don't get it. So we are going to pull one oracle card from the shamanic medicine. I'm looking at the air card at the bottom. There's a lot of mental quality to this reading. A lot of focus on freeing your mind from the intrusive and paralyzing thinking, Mercury Aquarius, that has to do with Plutonic authority figure stuff. So one final card, one card of insight. On how to operate through the rest of January as we are in preparation for the Lunar New Year, the buildup that's going to happen in February, the buildup of new dynamics, new ways of socializing, flute expression. Speaking gently. There's a need to be gentler in the way you communicate and to reduce, to turn down the volume of how you're speaking as well. To say things with softness is what we want to keep in mind in order to leave January unscathed and having protected our spiritual progression. To maintain the need to reach to serenity. We're not too far from it, and now's not the time to be combative with the flute. Keep it a little bit more tight-lipped, and if you have to communicate with pleasantness, with a level of humility and softness, and it's almost like you're needing to rock your being, your inner soul, to rock it back and forth, and to speak from that rhythm of internal comfort, to keep that soft beauty intact. And if you speak too harshly, you're going to ruin it. So this is all I had to disseminate, to discuss for this full moon in Cancer. Honestly, and I almost wasn't going to do anything for work today in terms of recording a video or doing a live stream. And I don't know, I just felt this nudge to get this video out there. So again, look and see if this full moon is interacting with any degrees of 26, 27, 28 in your chart. See if those are interacting with the full moon and what area of your life that's affecting prominently. So with that being said, I hope everyone hibernates into their oyster, their lovely oyster. Protect your little pearl, full moon. And remember that the feeling of bliss isn't too far. You just have to clam it up. Clam it up a little bit. Don't try to solve anything out there. Hole up a little bit. Protect yourself from within. And I think we'll get through the remainder of the winter with a balanced heart. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and I hope y'all have a different and exciting year, one that brings you many answers. Take it easy.